AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
Are there worse things out there than being a ghost, walking down a lonely, dusty trail? And then we take a look at the phenomenon sweeping across schools around America. 6-7, 6-7, 6-7. Is that annoying chant just something kids do to piss off their unks, as they like to call us older people? Or is 6-7 part of a ritual to allow demons into our reality? Today on Dead Rabbit Radio. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Dead Rabbit Radio. I'm your host, Jason Carpenter. I'm having a great day. Hope you guys are having a great day too. Hope you guys are having tons of fun doing whatever you're doing. You know, we got so much stuff to talk about. We got to get started right away. First off, running into Dead Rabbit Radio Command is one of our newest Patreon supporters. Everyone get on your feet and give it up for Manuel Venator. Woohoo! Yeah, he's walking on in. He's doing a bow. Woohoo! Yay! Wee! Manuel Venator recently started the Patreon, and he's the one who sent us the Morgellons story. We covered that recently. So thanks for that suggestion, and thank you for joining the Patreon. That is why you are going to be our captain, our pilot of this episode. If you guys can't support the show financially through the Patreon or the merch store or anything like that, it's totally fine. It really is. Just help spread the word about Dead Rabbit Radio. That helps out so much. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone you know. Dead Rabbit Radio is your favorite paranormal show. That is how you can help the show grow. Now, Manuel said that his name is a reference it's like a book reference. That's not his real name. But he made a very simple error. He assumed that I could pronounce it correctly, and I don't know if I can. He goes, maybe other people will get the book reference, and I thought, yeah, maybe if I knew how to say that last name. But we'll find this out. Now, Manuel, before we get started, we got some cool stuff to talk about. We recently had our Dead Rabbit Radio movie night and our Dead Rabbit Radio movie morning. It's always a lot of fun. We just watched a lot of short films, short horror movies, and there was a standout film among them all this time. We all really enjoyed it. There was a couple good ones, but the best one that I recommend you guys all watch, I've watched it 3 times now. It's called Freakbob. Freakbob, and it was actually suggested by one of our Patreon members, Hallowed Spirit. I'm going to put it in the show notes. I'm going to put the links to all of the movies we watched those 2 nights, but Freakbob is it's a really good horror short film. It really just head and shoulders above them all. We had some other good ones, but that one, it really stuck with me. It is about SpongeBob. You're like, is it about SpongeBob again? Yes, it's about SpongeBob again. It's very, very well made by this young man. This young YouTuber made this short film, and I love it. I think about it. I've been thinking about it a lot. I also want to say this, too. A year or 2 ago, during one of our movie nights, we came across, just randomly, I was randomly grabbing these short films. We came across this random short movie called The Chair, which is probably one of my favorite short horror films ever made. True artistry. True terror. That's the best way to describe The Chair. We watched it randomly, and I became hooked. It's this young director named Curry Barker. He made The Chair. He made a couple other really good shorts as well. He mostly does comedy. And for the past year or 2, I kind of keep an eye on him because I was hoping that he would break through. Because The Chair, not only is it one of the best short horror movies, I mean, I think it ranks up there with some of the best horror stories. I really, really thought that was an amazing short film, but so many people create content out there, and they never get to break through. I've never met Curry Barker. He's not a member of the Fluffle. He's just some guy. But I mean, I've been very happy because this is awesome news. Curry Barker just sold a movie for $10 million to Focus Features. It's going to be released in theaters next year. It's called Obsession. And just from the trailer alone, I'm like, I'm there day one. So congratulations, Curry Barker. I mean, I watch The Chair and I go, he needs to be up there with Osgood Perkins, the guy who did Longlegs. I watched The Chair and I go, this guy needs to be up there with, who's the guy who did Hereditary? Ari Aster. He's on that level. But, a lot of people are on that breakthrough level and they never break through. So congratulations, Curry Barker. Fantastic. I watched a couple of his short films. I'll put them all in. And I'm definitely going to be there day one to watch Obsession. And I'll keep an eye on this Freakbob guy. Because, again, he has a lot of talent, too. It's really cool. When you watch these kids, right? They're kids shooting these movies on their iPhones. And just, you can tell all the thought went into it. It's fantastic stuff. So anyways, I'm really happy for him, and I hope that we see Freakbob's career take a similar trajectory. Okay, I think that's all the housekeeping we have to do here. Manual, Venerator, let's go ahead and toss you the keys to the Dead Rabbit Dune Buggy. Everyone climb on board as he fires this bad boy up. We're leaving behind Dead Rabbit Radio Command. Why don't you drive us all the way out to Florida? Nice dune buggy ride all the way out to the wettest state. We're about to meet a young woman. Let's call her Melinda. She's driving through Florida. She's on a bit of a road trip, but it's not purely pleasure. She's actually headed out to a farm because she's interested in buying a horse, but she wants to take a look at it first, which makes sense, right? You want to test drive a car, you kind of want to whatever you do to a horse, look at his hooves, check his teeth. Do they still do that? And she's driving out to this farm. She's kind of on the outskirts of town at this point. And she's driving down a back road. Not a lot of traffic on this road. It's just Melinda at the moment, driving her car. And she sees up ahead a young woman walking down the side of this desolate road. And, Melinda's thinking, women helping women. She might need a ride. She might be in trouble. She might be lost. It could be all sorts of things. She didn't see an abandoned car. She just sees a woman walking down this road that Melinda hasn't seen any other cars drive down. She goes, maybe I should stop and ask her if she needs help. So as she's driving towards this woman, she starts to slow the car down, starts to pull over a bit. It'd be alarming, right? Because you don't know, you're just out for a walk, and then you hear the sound of a car slowing down behind you. It's a little nerve-wracking, especially, again, if you're on a desolate road in the middle of nowhere. It would ring some alarm bells, so you want to be very, gentle about it. You don't want to scare her off. So Melinda's slowing down Jason, how many times have you slowed down a car on a back road as a woman was walking? You seem to know a lot of inside details. Well, not a lot, if ever. I've only picked up very few hitchhikers in my life, but this woman's not even hitchhiking. She's just walking down the road. Maybe she's just on a long walk. But Melinda just wants to check. Melinda slows down the car, and she's kind of pulling up to this girl, and then she notices something. She's looking right at this woman because she plans on saying, hey, you need a ride? She's looking right at her. It's daytime. Sun's up in the sky. She can clearly see this woman walking in front of her until the woman simply vanished. And Melinda's sitting there in her car now, driving even slower, trying to wrap her mind around what she just saw. She watched a woman disappear. A woman that she had seen, right? A woman that it's not like it was a fleeting glimpse. She was looking at the woman. She made a plan. She put the plan into action. She's focused on this, and then the woman disappears. You'd think you were losing your mind, but you would, even if you were a skeptic, there's really only one possibility what this could be outside of you having gone insane. And that is, you saw a ghost. a ghost in the middle of the day vanish. Melinda does eventually make her way to the farm to take a look at the horse. There's no details on whether or not she bought the horse. If that's what you guys were waiting for, you're like, oh, the ghost, get out of the way, ghost. Did she check the teeth? Was it a good horse? We don't know whether or not Melinda bought the horse, and Melinda was very embarrassed to bring this up, but she couldn't not bring it up. She had to know if, maybe I have a brain tumor, maybe I need to go to the doctor after this whole horse buying expedition. And she's talking to the farmer about the horse. She is embarrassed, but she does say, hey, this is going to sound really weird, but when I was driving out here, I was driving down this back road, and I saw a young woman walking down the road, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but I pulled over to help her, and she vanished right in front of my eyes. Like, do you know what that could have been? And this is the moment of truth, right? And I think she got the answer that she wanted, the one that, although it would change the way she thinks about life after death, kind of proved that she's not going crazy. The farmer said, oh, yeah, no. I know exactly what you're talking about. That's a local legend in this area. She's been sighted for years. And many people in the area have had the exact same experience you had. Driving down the road, they see this young woman, and then when they pull over, maybe they're just driving by her, not even attempting to see if she needed help, but either way, they see this young woman clear as day, and then she vanishes right in front of you. People have been seeing her for years. And Melinda asked, now you're not crazy. You asked I think the question we would all ask as well, who is she? She's been sighted for years. It's a ghost in this area. Who is she? And the farmer goes, nobody knows. The reason why I wanted to highlight this story, I thought this was a really interesting one, as short as it is, because it seems extraordinarily sad. In a way, it's funny because most ghosts, I don't know if I should say most ghosts, but I'd say a lot of ghosts, it's probably close to 50%. Nobody knows who they were in life. We highlight the ones on this show where people are able to find out who that ghost was, and sometimes we're the ones who do it. We're digging through old newspapers until we actually find a name of a person who died in that location that matches that haunting. We've done that a couple times on the show. A lot of times that's to help prove that the ghost story could be true. But more often than not, it's just a lonely ghost walking down a dirt road, and nobody knows who she was. And there's something uniquely sad about that, I think. Jason, isn't this Christmas week? Yeah, that's sad. Thanks a lot. It's just, there's just something sad about being a ghost and nobody knows who you are. Now, here's the thing, we could look at it this way. It may not be the ghost of a dead woman. There could be a woman who loved walking that desolate road in the middle of nowhere so much that she left a psychic imprint of herself walking down the road. That's possible. It's unlikely. If there's a woman in the area, like this road, that no one in the area knows, no one recognizes her, no one can even match her to someone who died 10 years ago or 50 years ago or what have you, that means it could have been an out-of-towner. Could have been someone traveling through the area who died, and her lonely ghost is walking this road. And no one would ever know who she was, because she's actually from Arkansas or, Idaho or something like that. It just seems so lonely. And sad. You're like, yes, Jason, it's a great way to describe it. It's pretty sad. I think serial killer maybe, too. If we had to get extra sad, a young woman cut down in her prime by a brutal maniac. I don't know, though. Maybe it was just a car crash. Maybe it was a heart attack. Who knows? But the fact of the matter is, nobody knows who this girl is or why she walks there, or if they can ever even help her. We covered a story a long time ago But a plane crashed. I think it was in Colorado. I'll try to find the show notes. But a plane crashed before it got to the airport. Obviously, right? I mean, if it landed at the airport, it's not considered a crash. But it crashed, and people have cited the ghost of those passengers walking down the highway towards the airport. Stuff like that, like you know who those ghosts are because you can tell who died. I mean, you're like, Jason, are you saying that's less sad? Well, yeah, because we know who they are. We're like, hey, losers, get a better plane next time, throwing eggs at the ghosts. They're like, ah. No, I mean, it's sad no matter what. You know, ghosts are intrinsically kind of depressing, but I thought a lonely ghost, they're just kind of sad. Not just lonely, nobody knows who she is. And no one will probably ever figure it out. She vanishes before anyone, even if you had psychics out there. Ghost hunters, I don't know if they'd be able to communicate with her because once you start getting close, she just leaves. I remember a couple years ago I read this. It stuck with me. Out of all the stuff I read, you know, when stuff sticks with me, you're like, Jason, yeah, it's probably disturbing. Probably what you're about to say is deeply unsettling, and you're going to act like it's no big deal. I remember a couple years ago I read this thing where this guy said, it was an anonymous post, he goes, when I pleasure myself, I only look at photos of women who have died. Not necrophilia, but like a young woman gets murdered. A young woman gets murdered in her town, and they post all the photos of her after she dies in the newspaper, right? Look at this woman, she died. This is the guy who killed her. Then during the trial, look at this woman who died. They always have these photos. And he goes, those photos are the ones that I masturbate to. Again, don't clip any of the show, to be fair. But anyways, this guy, not me, this guy, Pervo, said he collects photographs of women who have died in car accidents and murders and things like that. And that's what he masturbates to. Not crime scene photos, but actually like their photo from their driver's license or prom photo or whatever. You'd have to be pretty hard up to use a driver's license photo. Those are like the least attractive photos in existence. I mean, if you could do that, I think you could probably win an Ironman triathlon if you got that type of endurance. But anyways, somehow, you know, they post these photos in the newspaper when people die. He goes, and the reason why I do that, the reason why he does that is because it gives him this sense. He goes, I'm the last person on earth who's ever going to think about this woman sexually. The boyfriend or the husband will move on, or maybe not, but they probably won't be thinking about their dead wife while they masturbate. I don't know for sure. I would think that would be difficult. Not as hard as using a driver's license photo, but it would still be hard. He goes, I have this whole folder, this collection of photos, and I pleasure myself when I look at pictures of women who have passed away because I know I'm the last person who will ever do that. Her family will continue to grieve, her loved ones will continue to grieve, but none of them will be thinking about her sexually. In fact, no man going forward will ever think about her sexually except for me. So I'm the last man who will have sexual thoughts about her because she's dead. And he has this whole collection of photos of women who have died, murdered, suicide, whatever, car crash. He has them in a folder, and every so often, and it's only growing, right? I mean, unfortunately, there's not a shortage of women who die, and he pleasures himself sexually, masturbates while looking at these photos. You're like, Jason, please stop. Please stop. It's Christmas time. This is like the most depressing time of the year. Although everything is so joyous and lit up, people have, you know what? Actually, that is a good point. I'm not gonna edit any of that out, but I do want to say this too, and then we'll move on to the next story. Which at this point, you're like, please do the 6-7 story. Please, I don't want to hear about whatever that was. What? The guy masturbates to photos of dead women, but not necrophilia. It's just the prom photo or whatever, the driver's license photo. You're right, though. This is the time of year people are more depressed than any other time of the year. So I do want to say this. Reach out to somebody. Reach out and grab them and go, listen to this episode specifically. Pull out your driver's license photo. We're going to have a contest, see who can last the longest. No. Now's the time to, no. Reach out. Listen, people are really lonely and people are really depressed during this time of year. Even people who are surrounded by family and friends. It's a weird moment this season where people feel more lonely than ever. So now is the time to reach out to others. Just make a phone call, shoot an email to that person you haven't talked to in a long time. Or maybe the person you talked to yesterday. It doesn't matter. Keep that social network going. And not just for them, but for you too. Now is a time where we tend to kind of turtle up, especially physically, because the weather sucks. But, yeah. Reach out. Jason, what are you doing? That's the worst PSA ever. Oh, by the way, if you have anyone who's died recently, there's this lunatic who's masturbating to her photo. And just reach out to somebody. You know what I mean, though? Like, I know of people right now that are kind of struggling with stuff. And, it's sometimes just that email or that phone call or just anything. Right? You play them this episode. They're like, I never want to talk to you again. Merry Christmas. Slam the door in your face. Reach out to somebody. It's a complicated subject, obviously. When people are super lonely, it's really, it's easy to say, oh, just call them up. Sometimes it's more than that. But you know what I mean, right? You know what I mean. Now's the time to not let other people be lonely or to be lonely ourselves. So I don't know how to fix it. That's the problem. But I understand. I don't get super lonely. I'm kind of built for that. But I know other people do. Other people don't have that ability to just be alone. And my problem is that I go, well, I'm just sitting here playing Battlefield 6 and reading stuff online. I'm totally fine. I'm not lonely. To other people, that's like the worst possible thing in the world, is to just sit in their house and absorb content. Some people, that's like, it's horrible for them. I'm like, what? That's awesome. I wish I could just absorb content all day long. I'm like Pearl from Blade, just watching 10 monitors. But that's my problem. I go, well, I'm not lonely. Everything's going great for me. I'm just chilling. So I'm not going to call up any of my friends or family because I'm sure they're too busy, just like I am, playing Battlefield 6 till 3 in the morning. That's my problem. And then people tell me how lonely they are. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even know. Do you have Battlefield 6? Because I'm looking for a squad for Battle Royale. No, you know what I mean? Reach out to people. Reach out to people. I'm really bad at that. I'm saying that to myself as much to all of you guys. It's a tough time. It is. It really is. So, there you go. Like, Jason, okay, yeah, that's a little bit better. I mean, it did make me think about all of my friends killing themselves. So thanks a lot for that. But it is a marked improvement over the man who masturbates over dead women and the idea of a ghost walking down a road for eternity. Nobody knows who she is. Well, that guy does. The guy who has those photographs, if he drove down the road, he's like, Rebecca person, oh, I know you. Pulls over for a quickie. Manual Venerator, let's go ahead and toss you the keys of the world. Famous Carpenter Copter, we are leaving behind Florida. Why don't you fly us all the way out to a middle school playground? We're standing in this middle school playground, and we're wearing lab coats because we're scientists. And I look at you guys and I go, hey, so we are scientists, not real scientists. We're social scientists, but we're studying stuff nonetheless. Look at all of these young people here. Now, there's a unique thing that's going on in society right now. Hey, kid, you, come here. And this kid walks over to us and I go, what is 34? I'm so bad at math. Wait, how do I want to say this? What's 34 plus 33? And the kid looks, he's looking around and he's looking at all of us. Then he goes, and his eyeballs light up and he gets his hands in position. He goes 6'7", 6'7". He's moving his hands up and down, 6'7". And we're watching this kid and he's just going 6'7". We're like, you're not, Jason, we get it. We've heard it a million times. You don't have to keep doing it. But see, here's the thing. I go, no. We do have to keep doing it because watch. And he keeps saying 6, 7, and he's moving his hands up and down. And then we see other middle school kids stop what they're doing, and they start walking towards us, and they're going 6, 7, 6, 7. And I go, you think this is a harmless meme? You think this is a joke at Unk's expense? Us oldies, us boomers, we don't understand what 6, 7 is, and in fact, 6, 7 doesn't have a meaning. That's kind of the point. But what they are doing is not a simple chant to aggravate old people, no. And that's when you notice that it's so weird because all these kids started it at a different point, but they're completely synchronized now. They're doing the exact same hand motion at the exact same time. They're saying 6, 7 as almost just a low roar. We're hearing 100, 200 kids now on this playground say this over and over again. And that's when you start to notice their faces begin to distort. Their eyes glaze over and then turn solid black. They hunch down like goblins, and they're walking towards us. 6, 7, 6, 7, 6, 7. The once beautiful blue sky that looked over the middle school playground is now blood red. And that's when we realize it's not just the middle schoolers at this school saying 6, 7. We hear kids all throughout the surrounding neighborhood say it as well. All around the world at this exact moment. Everyone under the age of 16 is saying 6, 7, 6, 7. And for better or for worse, Armageddon has begun. This was a really interesting thing for me to research. It's funny because it sounds so stupid. And I have to say I'm sorry. We talked about this during the Dead Rabbit Radio movie night. One of the people, and I didn't write it down, it was my mistake. I think it was the movie night. I don't think it was the movie morning, but I could be wrong. We were talking about 6, 7 because we watched a short film about a guy who was doing a Ouija board and he kept going 6, 7, 6, 7, and the Ouija board was going 6, 7, 6, 7, and then a demon killed him at 6:07. It was actually pretty funny. But somebody brought up, I don't think it was me, someone brought up the idea that 6, 7 was a satanic ritual, and it was in jest. And I go, and I don't think it was me, I think it was one of the people who was watching the show, but I didn't write it down. I go, that would be interesting if I could find anything to back that up. Recently, I thought, I wonder if there's a conspiracy theory that Adolf Hitler never existed. That he was actually a creation by German high command to pin the worst of the worst on him. Like, all of the footage is fake. All the speeches are fake. World War II happened. I'm not saying that. You're like, are you saying the Holocaust was fake? I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that they created a fictional character. There never existed a man named Adolf Hitler. And I thought, I don't believe that's true. I don't believe that's true. But I thought, I wonder if I can find stories about that. I wonder if I can actually find conspiracy theorists who are trying to convince people that Adolf Hitler doesn't exist. And I wasn't able to find anything. But when I thought, well, is 6, 7 a satanic ritual? I was shocked by the amount of information that I was able to find. And shocked is kind of an understatement. Let me take you on this journey that I went on. So 6, 7, I'm not going to bore you with a ton of the details, but we do have to lay some of this stuff out. So let's go back to the origin of the 6, 7 meme. It's really interesting because I didn't know any of this stuff. I knew that kids were saying it, and I knew it came from a song. And you guys may know a lot of this stuff, that's why I don't want to bore you with the details, but there's a rapper named Skrilla. He's from Philadelphia. He's a drill rapper. Now, drill rap is hardcore gangster rap. These guys are usually like active gang members. And their music tends to be very violent, which I'm fine with. I love gangster rap, but I like West Coast gangster rap. And I'm listening to clips right now that's not really gangster rap, but drug-related rap, cocaine dealing rap. Drill rap is very, very specific to the region, it appears. You have to live the lifestyle to make the music. There's a big part of that in rap, but even more so in drill. So I was surprised when I looked up the song Doot Doot 6'7". That's the name of the song, Doot Doot 6'7". I was surprised by the amount of guns in the video. I knew drill rap was, gangster, but I knew that kids were getting this meme, 6'7", 6'7". I was surprised by the origin of it. So you have this rapper named Skrilla, and he has a song called Doot Doot. I'm not a fan of drill rap. It wasn't for me. I can see why it's popular among young people, but I don't like drill rap. I don't like a lot of new genres of rap. I like West Coast rap. I like a little bit of East Coast stuff, a little bit of South, like Scarface and things like that. But I can't stand Kendrick Lamar. I'm pretty sure, this is my personal conspiracy, that Kendrick Lamar is a Make-A-Wish kid, and I didn't get the memo. Like, everyone else is like, oh, he's good. Yeah, he's really good. But he sucks. He's so bad. You remember when Make-A-Wish did that thing for that kid who wanted to be Batman? So one day, all of San Francisco pretended this kid was Batman, and he caught a criminal, and the police gave him a badge, and that's who I think Kendrick Lamar is. He sucks. He's so bad at rapping. And the funny thing is I've been listening to Kendrick Lamar for a long time because he used to run with The Game. And I used to have every mixtape that Game ever put out. And he was on that. And he sucked then. And then I forgot about him because he was so bad. He was just some rapper in the background. Then he changed his name. Kendrick Lamar is his real name, but he had a different rap name. And his music's terrible. And every time he comes out with a new album, I sit down and listen to it. Because I think, maybe I'm wrong. Ice Cube likes him, and I love Ice Cube. Everyone thinks Kendrick Lamar is great, and I listen to an album of his, and it's always horrible. He's the worst rapper out there, and I really do think that everyone else knows that he's dying of an incurable disease, and that's why they pretend that he's good, but he sucks. He's so bad. He's terrible. I got the new Clips album. I think which I never liked the Clips. I got the new album, best rap album probably in the past 10 years. Let God sort him out. It's fantastic. It's been in my car for weeks at a time. Kendrick Lamar's on that, and he sucks on that. He's so bad. He ruins the song he's on because he sucks, and I have to skip it. He's bad. But anyways, drill rap, very gangster. It's very, you live the life of the music you make. Posers get pushed out. If you're going to be a drill rapper, you've got to be in that life. It's very, very popular, and it's pretty violent rap, but I listen to violent rap anyways. But I just think it was weird because I go, kids are doing this. Now, the thing is it became a meme because some basketball player on TikTok, I didn't write his name down, but out of all the research I did, he is the one who, because that song was popular. It wasn't just an obscure song. It wasn't exploded like it has now, but this basketball player, apparently he's 6'7", and someone asked how tall he is, and he goes 6'7", and he's like doing the hand motion thing. And it comes from that song, and it's barely mentioned in the song. By the way, Doot Doot references shooting people. It's a drive-by. The song's all talking about killing the rival gang. And this is where it gets sticky because a lot of people say 6'7" is the street. In Philadelphia, 6'7" is this. It's the crime, the police local crime code for someone's been killed. Really what it looks like was there's a rap group or a rapper named YSN UTH. YSN apparently stands for Young Savage. In words, UTH, I'm not for sure. I think his name is Uth. Back in September 2023, he mentions the number 6'7". It's about like his gang, YSN, or his rap group or collective, or I think it's all kind of just combined over there. Skrilla's beefing with YSN. I guess they had a falling out. So when he's saying Doot Doot 6'7", it's basically a shot at this other crew. Literally and figuratively. That's the origin of 6'7" in that song. It's about killing your rivals. He's beefing with YSN. Okay. I found that out. I go, okay, it's a rapper rapping about stuff. And the song got clipped and became a meme. And when someone asks a kid, what does 6'7" mean? They go, well, if you don't know, you don't know, or I don't know, because that's really what it means. It's just nothing. It's nonsense. So I thought, oh, okay, I learned a little bit about drill music. I learned a little bit about the origin of 6'7". It's not satanic. Because I was finding all these videos, and people were saying 6-7 is satanic. These kids are chanting this number, and they're moving their hands up and down, and this is actually a ritual to let demons into the body of a child. And that's when I go, you know what's funny? At this point, I'm kind of like, I'm still researching, but I go, that's a great idea for a horror movie. In fact, it's been done a couple times. I thought about Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, where this idea that there's this chant that kids watch all the time on television, and it's activating this thing in their brain, and then on Halloween, their heads explode and bugs come out or something like that. It's probably been 20, 30 years since I've seen that movie, but there's been a lot of references to that, right? This idea that you can have kids be the portal to the evil old ones, that you can create a chant or a song that seems harmless, but it's actually extremely dangerous. In the world of fiction, there's a lot of variations of that. So I understand why people were saying 6-7 is satanic. I guess I kind of skipped that part too. I said, I tried to look in his Adolf Hitler reel, and I couldn't find anything. When I typed in, is 6-7 satanic, I immediately found dozens and dozens of posts of people claiming that. So I go, okay, now I have something to research. Let's find out where it came from for real. Let's watch these videos of these people saying it's satanic. Let's watch these videos of people saying it's satanic or stupid. And I'm watching all of this stuff. And then I come across this video. These are all going to be in the show notes if you want to check for yourself. So I'm looking at all this stuff and I go, okay, people keep using the term satanic panic, which kind of drives me up the wall because a lot of those crimes were real. Not all of them, sure. But it's very easy to commit a heinous act and throw a little bit of satanic imagery in it. You grab a kid, drag him to the basement, and on the wall's a pentagram. And so if that kid ever talks and says, yeah, there was a big pentagram on the wall, and they had a knife, and they were saying they were going to sacrifice me and my family if I didn't do what they wanted, people are just going to roll their eyes and go, the kid's making it up. Predators and pedophiles use satanic imagery, not because some of them are Satan worshipers, but a lot of them use it just because they know it'll make the kid unbelievable. So whenever people go satanic panic, when they haven't done their research, it creates that bubble. It makes people go, well, I'm not going to believe that because there was a pentagram in the back. I was looking at all this stuff, and then I come across an Instagram post, and this dude goes, oh, yeah, no, he's totally a Satan worshiper. In fact, he's a practitioner of Santeria. And, here's a clip of him talking about sacrificing goats. And I go, what? It's a clip, and it's an interview with Skrilla, and he goes, yeah, I sacrifice goats. The guy's like, what? And he goes, yeah, I sacrifice goats. Sacrifice goats? Yeah, sacrifice goats, rats, chickens, whatever. He said he's a practitioner of Santeria, practitioner of I might be pronouncing it wrong, Palo. And you go, okay, Jason, that's a religion, and there's a lot of mainstream religions that sacrifice animals still. So what's wrong with sacrificing animals? I don't have a problem with them sacrificing animals per se. And I know this would probably be controversial, but I would say just because you are sacrificing a goat, I wouldn't do it, but I get a lot of big religions do it. A lot of them still have life sacrifices. I go, I wouldn't do it. I don't think I would be a member of church that was sacrificing a goat. If I was, I probably wouldn't show up that night. But does that make 6-7 satanic? No. Does it make it based on Santeria? Maybe. And this is what's interesting is when you say a 6-7 satanic, it sets people alarm. You will find a ton of people saying, no one knows what they're talking about. This music is not satanic, And you have another group of people who believe, right? I don't think this is the right belief, but it's their belief, that anything that is not from God is of Satan. Therefore, Santeria is on the level of Satan worship. And that's just not true. I don't believe that that's true. People can disagree with that, and a lot of people do. But I definitely think that, like most religions, you can take it down a darker path. I don't know much about Santeria. Again, I'm not a practitioner of it. If someone's sacrificing goats and someone's sacrificing chickens, whatever, does that necessarily make it satanic? No. But what's really interesting is you could have said, if people said, is the song 6-7 a dark magic ritual or a black magic ritual, I think there would be less pushback, because when the second you say satanic, you get a lot of people just have this instinctual urge to go satanic panic, and just dismiss anything that comes out after that. But this guy Skrilla, he definitely practices a Santeria. He's sacrificing live goats. Does that make him a Satan worshiper? No. Does that make him a practitioner of Santeria? Yes. And here's what's interesting too. In similar interviews, he straight up says, I cast curses on people. I have this ritual I do that I'll take these items and I will cast this ritual, and that person ends up getting shot. That person ends up getting hurt. That's black magic. Wherever you want to classify that as, whatever religious umbrella you want to put that under, that's black magic. If you were a Christian and you prayed for someone's downfall, and it happened, I'm sorry, but you just practiced black magic. I should say, like, wait, what? What if it's a horrible person? Okay, listen, black magic can be complicated, right? If there's a horrible person out there that you feel needs to be punished for what they've done, and you pray on that, and something horrible happens to that person, that still, I would consider that to be black magic, because you're acting negatively in someone else's life. If Skrilla is casting these spells, or these rituals would probably be a better way to put it, and he's like, oh, Curry Barker, you're such a good filmmaker, I hope you break through one day, and he has this ritual and then Curry Barker blows up, that is white magic. That is actually using it to lift up people. But if you're like explicitly saying you're doing this to get people shot, then that is black magic, regardless of what religious umbrella you want to put it under. So here's an interesting question now. He is, by his own admission, a practicing spellcaster. And he knows how to do it, and it's happened in the past. He's admitting to that. So now let's revisit this song, 6-7. Think about this. He made a song wishing death upon his enemies. Watch the music video, which again, I love rap, so I don't have a problem with that. I listen to rap music all day long. They're constantly talking about killing everybody, because I listen to gangster rap. But when you have a song that is chanted, I swear, 1,000,000 times a day across the world, not continuously, but you know what I mean? It is such a force, and it drives adults up the wall, so they keep doing it. They're banning it at schools, which gives it even more power. You create a song that explicitly is wishing death upon your enemies, and you name them in the song, and now millions of people are chanting that, and you are a spellcaster. This is what you do. You cast black magic. I'm not saying that Soulja Boy's song turned a bunch of kids into Superman, or turned Soulja Boy into Superman, because they were all singing that song. But Soulja Boy's not a practicing black magic expert. Skrilla is. That's the difference. Ice Cube had a good day. And when everyone sings that song, does he have a good day just randomly out of the blue? I hope so. I love Ice Cube. But Ice Cube's not a practicing black magic expert. Skrilla is. So at the end of the day, is it satanic? Is Doot Doot 6-7 satanic? Not specifically, no. Can it be a black magic ritual that millions of kids around the world are participating in? Possibly. Those are two totally different questions. At the end of the day, it would depend on the intent Skrilla had when he made that song, outside of just talking trash about a rival gang. If he embedded this song with ritualistic magic, then yeah, it's actually black magic at that point. Only time will tell how this all plays out. The most likely answer is a song made by a guy who practices Santeria and does place curses on his enemies just happened to go viral. And they're not connected in any way, shape, or form. There's a lot of singers who are Christian who make pop music, and that doesn't mean that all of their music is imbued with Christian ideology or symbolism, and therefore is a prayer. It's possible that that's all that it is, but you also have to remain open to the fact that for every kid who goes 6'7", 6'7", 6'7", they're actually giving up a little bit of their own, I don't want to say life force, that sounds a little dramatic, but I mean, I don't want to say soul either, that's not much better, but like just part of their psyche. 6'7", 6'7". And once it starts, it almost spreads like a fever. It's not just one kid doing it. Any kid in earshot starts doing it as well. I understand why people were suspicious of it in the first place. But when I actually learned more about the musician behind it, it's possible their suspicions have a bit of truth to them. But only time will tell. Kids are doing this over and over and over again. If YSN gets completely wiped off the map, if everyone he talked about in that song gets killed or imprisoned or just simply disappears, well then, I mean, I think it would be a pretty effective spell. But what happens then? What happens when the spell is over, his enemies are vanquished, but the meme is still around? And kids keep going 6'7", 6'7", even though there's no target anymore. All of his enemies are gone. Everyone he named in the song has been removed from the playing field in one way or the other. What happens when a black magic ritual lives on long past its target? There's really no way to even predict. I don't think, if this is a spell, there's not been a spell this popularized that I can really think of ever. It's almost at a level of a parody. If you saw this in a movie, a spell, and all these kids are chanting it over and over again, you'd be like, okay, that's a little unrealistic. You couldn't have every kid in the world chanting the spell, maybe a small town, but that's the reality we're in. So what happens when the target of the spell has been crushed, yet the spell is still being chanted over and over and over again? I don't know specifically the answer for that, but I do know when black magic is used, it's almost a given there will be unintended consequences. We've never seen a spell cast at this level with this many people, ever. The first viral black magic ritual, if that's what this is. Let's put on our conspiracy caps and just say that's what it is. The very first viral black magic ritual. What happens now? I couldn't guess, but I have to imagine it's not going to be good. The longer the spell is being powered, the higher the chance it's going to go out of control. And while conspiracy theorists may say that demons are going to take over the souls of these kids, that they're using this chant as a gateway into the world of flesh and blood, it sounds ludicrous, but what if they're right? In the long term, what if they're right? Because nothing like this has ever happened before, I cannot think of a way to stop it outside of true divine intervention. But the chances of that happening, really, of the hand of God coming down and putting an end to this ritual, I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, Jason, seriously? On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say the chances of that happening is somewhere between 6, 7. Like, what? Was this whole episode a lead up to that bad joke? You know what's funny? You go, Jason, okay, yeah, maybe you're right. How many times did you say 6, 7 during this episode? Right now you're getting attacked by demons. You're like, I'm not a member of YSN. Why are they beating me up? Demons are coming out and beating you up. I apologize if demons are beating you up, but I will say this. If the demons beat you to death, they'll put a photo of you in the newspaper to mourn your passing, and just know that someone out there will always remember you Won't be a family member. Won't be someone you've ever met. But if you do get cursed and killed by demons because of listening to this episode, don't worry. There's at least one man out there who will remember you. He'll have your photo clipped out of the newspaper and stapled above his bed. You're like, what? Jason, don't bring that story back. That's creepier than demons. But that's a nice thing to know, right? Even after you died, if they print a good picture of you in the newspaper, you'll always be remembered by at least one man. DeadRabbitRadio@gmail.com is going to be our email address. You can also hit us up at Facebook.com/DeadRabbitRadio. TikTok is @DeadRabbitRadio. Dead Rabbit Radio is the daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime podcast. You don't have to listen to it every day, but I'm so glad you listened to it today. Have a great one, guys.
Marketing is hard. But I'll tell you a little secret. It doesn't have to be. Let me point something out. You're listening to a podcast right now, and it's great. You love the host. You seek it out and download it. You listen to it while driving, working out, cooking, even going to the bathroom. Podcasts are a pretty close companion. And this is a podcast ad. Did I get your attention? You can reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a pre-produced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience and their favorite podcasts with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com, that's LIBSYN, ads.com today.